Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on yet another edition of Public Conscience. Public Conscience is a production of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, and we are sponsored by the Makato Foundation with a very, straight focus on how to reduce corruption in Nigeria. The 9th National Assembly has been inaugurated, and another legislative session has come on, and with the hopes, very high hopes, that they will, that is, the legislators will intensify the lawmaking process to curb corruption in Nigeria. I have my co-anchor with me here, Chukwudi Okolie Ugwaja. Welcome to the program.
It's always a happy thing to be here, and as you intoned earlier, Nigerians do indeed expect a lot from the new National Assembly, if I may call them new, apart from making laws for good governance and general well-being of Nigerians. The issue of supporting the current efforts of the government against corruption is very relevant.
And Chukwudi, as the saying goes, charity might still need to begin at home. Many Nigerians are still not very comfortable with the total package these lawmakers take home. And more importantly, the way their allowances appear to be shrouded in secrecy.
Austin Ohiria, that's what we call you here most of the time, since Senator Shehu Sani gave us a hint that a senator gets 13.5 million naira monthly as running cost, apart from their official consolidated salary of 750,000 naira approved per month by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC. Not much has been heard from those quarters.
And we want to hear from you today on what you also want to tell us about the secrecy. Is it the high amount? Some people say very, very high. Some people say it is sacrilegious. Some people will say it is not even enough, that they should receive more. But now you can join us just before we tell you which phone numbers to call in onto. You can reach us through the WhatsApp platform that we have. Begin to test and send us a message so that we can have a holistic conversation in the studio here. 09022656167. I'll take that again. 09022656167. That is the number to reach on our WhatsApp platform. It's important to us for us to know. If you cannot call us, to drop a message for us so that we can have you as part of the conversation, and we ride on. But Chukwudi, and now that the new session of the 9th National Assembly is on, should Nigerians not be told exactly what these monthly allowances are meant for and why they appear bogus? 13.5 million naira for the senators and about 12 million naira monthly for House of Rep members. Now, so many Nigerians believe that this is bogus, but should they not tell us exactly what this amount is meant for? Probably, Nigerians will understand. And if they don't understand, what options do we have? What suggestions do we have?
Well, by benefit of hindsight, and maybe the lawmakers were trying to launder their image a bit, the 8th Senate did explain reluctantly that the 13.5 million naira covers the expenses of each senator, including payment to legislative aides, transportation to constituency offices, maintenance of constituency offices, medical, and other such personal expenses. But the point is this: some Nigerians are saying, given the situation on the ground, are these figures you can readily justify?
Can you really justify them? Can corruption and undue remuneration, as some people will put it, they say it's undue. It is not justifiable, it is bogus. Can they be inferred as corruption? I mean, in the payment of these allowance, can we say that these payments are corruption dressed officially, approved amounts that they are not supposed to get? Can we really say that this is a one-way government over the years have legitimized undue remunerations and allowances
for public functionaries?
Yes. In a country where we have over 90 million people living under the poverty line. I mean, the number of people who are extremely poor in the world has the highest concentration in Nigeria.
That is the issue. So many poor people and yet unbelievable allowances of public functionaries. Where is the uniting line there? where do you marry us in terms of being a people who profess to be chasing the same national ideals?
And again, the other question, Chukwudi, is to ask, if the National Assembly with their oversight functions have the responsibility to make the laws that will curb corruption, would they be standing on a good moral ground to be, as some Nigerians will put it, feed very fat in allowances and what they have given to themselves, and then would they be able to make the laws that will curb corruption? Some persons have said, and I'm going to be introducing our guest shortly, who will be helping us to analyze it, that some federal agencies spend, in fact, some single federal agencies spend as much as the National Assembly, the total budget of the National Assembly, and that they are not being focused. Their attention is not focused on them.
Also, in acting, people tell you that acting thrives on believability. How much is that actor or actress making that script believable? The point is this: they are eating apple, but Nigerians are saying they don't even allow them to eat the palm kernel being dropped on the ground. How can we believe you that we all have the same national ideals when the gap is a chasm indeed?
So, what's your reaction? What is your own reaction to the remunerations to the lawmakers in Nigeria, a country with the highest number of extreme poor people in the world? We have told you we are going to open the phone line as we need the spirit of the program that will run public conscience on radio. We want interaction. You can drop us a line just before we get to you, 090-2265-6167. 090-2265-6167. That's our WhatsApp number, and you can reach us. But we have a guest in the house. Dr. Jide Ojo is a public affairs commentator. Welcome to the program, sir. And this debate has been on for a long time. Allowances to government officials. Are we paying too much?
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. Pointedly, I won't say we are actually paying too much for our legislator. But when you put it in context, in comparison to what a civil servant gets, then of course it becomes too much. But I also want to let our listeners understand, how do you become a legislator in Nigeria? You go through party primaries, then you face general elections. These two strands of elections cost enormous resources. And even though this may not be I'm just hazarding a guess that there is no free lunch in Freetown. People invest in election because they hope to reap bountifully reward from their investment.
Should that be the spirit?
No, wait. I'm coming to the spirit and letter. The issue is, even Shehu Sani that blew the whistle, has anybody rejected that 13.5 million? Has any one of them said, this is outrageous, I can't accept this? They all will blow whistle, but they will collect. Do you know that a governor has about 777,000 naira in a month? Executive governor. That is before tax. After tax, it comes to about 550,000.
That is salary.
Salary. Approved by revenue mobilization. Because how did we get to know this? When the altercation between Dogara and El Rufai, if you tackle me, I will double you. They all said, look, in the spirit of open government partnership, let's know what you have. And El Rufai came out and said, look, this is my take-home pay. But is that why people will spend billions on elections? I mean, you need to hear stories of those people who were inaugurated yesterday. What's the average amount each of them spent on their electioneering campaign? If I will tell you the truth, none of them is in compliance with the Section 92, subsection 1 to 7 of the Electoral Act. The Electoral said the president should spend not more than 1 billion on his campaign. Can the president, our incumbent president, said the money is spent on the advert alone is not in excess of 4 to 5 billion?
Who is deceiving who?
So that's what we are saying. So we are singling out the legislator because, maybe they are the lucky. Like you said in your introduction, many heads of parastatals, agencies, and departments of government what they even spend on their car to purchase a car, official car, is in excess of 100 million. So, not to talk of maintaining them, not to talk of other perks of office, including entertainment allowance.
So how did we get to this level where government officials across board? Because if you want to take a look at all of them, ministers, head of departments, head of agencies, and now we are talking about the National Assembly. How did Nigeria get to this level where public office is seen as an avenue to recoup, to get rich, and to get money?
With impunity.
It's so unfortunate. You see, I was coming to a point earlier in my discussion. The revenue mobilization and fiscal whatever. What the intendment is, make these people comfortable so that they won't steal. You know, make them, they have a very, it's like a consultant. If you are a consultant, you have more than a public servant or somebody who is a full-time staff.
You are having a temporary job.
Exactly, because your job is temporary. It's for a period, a short period of time. So your consultancy fee will be more, maybe quadruple that of even somebody with your same qualification or even more experience, but who is having full-time employment. Now, the intendment was make these people comfortable so that they won't be digging their hand into public till. But the question we should ask ourselves, has that been a disincentive? Look at councillors. You know, you hear of councillors, which is the lowest form of parliament, who in 6 months start to build a mansion. Is it from the salary he's getting that mansion built?
Of course, from the local government.
It's from the public treasury. So the intendment has been defeated. The intendment was make them comfortable so that they will not steal, so that they will not be corrupt. But now they have even gone beyond that. I will not deceive you on here. These people are not even living by that 13.5 million that you are talking about.
That's a pity. And the question
they are not living by it.
The question we ask you at this point is this. You see, it all boils down to believability. You can preach all you want to from a citadel. The man there in the street knows what the realities are.
Sure.
If these lawmakers cannot live a transparent or believable life in terms of the kind of allowances they get, and I hear that the problem really is not in what the RMAFC gives them, it is actually in the allowances they give themselves. If they're not believable, if the Nigerian people do not believe in the huge things they're giving themselves, how can they check the executive?
They can't check there because that's the coup d'etat we have found ourselves. It's a catch-22 situation. Like I said earlier on, you have a scenario where the system is trying to make you comfortable so that you will not have cause to steal. But you have come to realize that, look, this is an entrepreneurship. This is an investment. Now, I will tell you in good conscience, take an opinion. If you have friends among the parliamentarians, ask them on the average, some of them who are close to you, who will tell you the truth, how much did they spend on their elections? You will be amazed. I knew somebody who told me that what he spent is in excess of 400 million.
To be a senator.
Not even a senator.
Okay, now we are going to be running around in this circle, unfortunately, because you say the National Assembly should make laws for the good governance of Nigeria. The ideas of the revenue mobilization, the body responsible for fixing salary was that, look, if we give them enough, we make them comfortable, they will not steal.
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately, they have legitimized how to take the money, both whether it's the executive or in the legislature. One will want to begin to ask, what is the way out? Are we going to continue to have a huge chunk of the monies that should be used for development spent in running elections, and then you have to recoup it when you get to office? No,
we can't continue this way, which is why we are talking of restructuring. I wrote in my column, I write for Punch newspaper every Wednesday, and part of my advocacy in today's Punch was, look, we need to restructure this country. There's no two way about it. And restructuring does not also mean, collapsing a system, and it's about addressing fundamental issues. The cost of running government is too astronomical. Our dear president, in spite of his Spartan nature, has about 6 presidential jets in his fleet, which is being paid for by you and I. And to maintain that is in excess of ₦1 billion annually. Because you have to pay landing costs, you have to pay service charges, you have, whether it flies or does not fly, the crew are there, they get paid. The Queen of England, the Prime Minister of Britain, even Donald Trump as the President of US, how many aircraft do you have in his fleet? Apart from Air Force One, maybe there's a spare, maybe there's one other that I do not know of.
There could be a backup.
There could be a backup. But in our own climb, we are having, before under Jonathan, it was 11. And they sent for another one, 12. Now, with hues and cries, this president decided to give about 2 or 3 helicopters to Nigeria Air Force, sold 1 or 2, but still kept about 5 to 6. So what does he need that for? Don't forget the presidential vice president's chopper that crashed in Kaba was hired. It was even hired.
So they even still have to hire.
So you will ask yourself, why do you have that many and you are still hiring?
Okay, let's just go to the street. My colleagues went to find out from Nigerians on the street what possibly can be done, if it's actually right for the National Assembly members to have indeed have such what they call huge allowances. You will be very, very excited by the responses that we got.
If you're giving a senator 10.5 million, it depends on what he's using it to do. It could be adequate and it can also be inadequate, depending. Now, if you don't break it down to Nigerians to make them understand that, okay, they have offices and sub-offices under them where they pay salaries and stipends and other money for projects and stuff, it will look like too much money.
It is just too much. Whatever it is that they are doing there, it's what they can do on part-time basis.
That is too much is an understatement. It's outrageous and devilish. Because in a country like ours, where average Nigerians are wallowing in abject poverty, they could not eat 3 square meals. A lawmakers that should be giving back to the people that gave them mandate were earning that huge sum of money.
In life, you need money for everything. So I'm in support of that. If they are senators and they are doing their work, so they are meant to pay their bills and other things.
Somebody is collecting 13-point-something million naira, that is senators. For what? To make laws that are beneficial to them and their families? What exactly do they do? If the allowance is cut down, maybe they should bring it down to like 250,000 naira. That post will not even be attractive in the first place. Those politicians will not go there. Anybody that is going there for the business of making laws. It will no longer be business as usual.
The amount is reasonable, considering the economic situation we are. Some of us, when we talk here, the 13-point-something million, it looks so big and people make noise about it. There are some revenue-generating agencies that make much money more than that, and they have minimal airs. Nobody is looking at it. But when it comes to senators and House of Reps, everybody make noise.
We make the office unattractive so that the elections itself, nobody will go and kill himself spending the kind of money Dr. Jide is talking about in order to get elected. Is it not in the attraction? Yeah. The attraction in spending so much money during the election. Is it not the allowances that they think is waiting for them? That's the issue. But let us open our lines now because we want you to be part of it. And we'll ask Dr. Jide to just give you time. He will have to come to comment on it a short while. Hello.
Hello. My name is Ambassador Suleiman, calling from Lifetown.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Please go ahead.
Are you talking about the outrageous money that senators are being paid?
If you call it outrageous.
Yeah, see, are they not for service? What are they doing? And what is the return of democracy? What law are they made that has changed the life of Nigerians? So you see...
So what should be adequate?
In fact, to me, the money should be cut down. They shouldn't be paid the way civil servants are being paid.
Okay.
They are for the service to the people.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you so much. Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yes, is that Nigeria Info?
This is Nigeria Info, and you are on to Public Conscience.
Okay, this is Dr. Jennings calling from the Abuja.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I think I want to agree completely with what Mr. Jide has actually said. Nigeria is a paradoxical. You can't explain the Nigerian state. Many funny things do happen in our country. But what I see in all of this is that we have a deficit in leadership craft. Until we get the leadership right, we can't achieve more.
So restructuring can solve the problem?
Well, I do not think restructuring is the key word. Nigeria cannot achieve that what they are set out to do, because even in the democratic setting, we've not been able to come to a compromise. Look at state creation, for example. Most of the things that have been achieved in the last 20, 30 years were as a result of the military intervention in Nigeria. So even the quality of legislation in Nigeria is centered on money issue. I haven't seen a reverse legislative activity in the last 15, 20 years. So we need to rework first and foremost. Our constitution is deficit. Our constitution is deficient. It's a constitution that is made with 75,000 words to just expand. The United States, the constitution is about 50,000 words. So look at that. We keep doing things that we were saying we are practicing democracy.
Okay.
We can't do it. We can't get it. Nigerian system. We can't get it right. We get a constitution.
Thank you very
we
much.
Have a constitution there.
Thank you.
We have somebody else on the line. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much.
My name is Oka. I'm calling from Guarepa.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the simple truth in Nigeria is just that we create ourselves in a very bogus constitution, bogus institution, about 300, over 500 state house. Everything is so bogus, including allowances. Restructuring is one of the things that has to bring this down in order to make the situations not less attractive. Looking at the past people that we had, the forefathers that will run the democratic system, few of them died without having much big houses. Because look at Barara Musa, which you always say when you were a political platform. A lot of things, the salary even from the presidency has not been made known to people. How about the security vote of the president? And you have a budget for police, have a budget for army, have a budget for military, and then the president has over 1 billion every month for security vote. And a lot of state governor security vote, which is not accounted for. And a lot of sub-helps. If you look at the budget every time, you see buying plate and spoons in the villa, 300 and something million. A lot of things have, if we don't restructure the country by 2030, I think it will be another story.
Do you see this behavior as a way Nigeria have over the years legitimized corruption, make it official and make it comfortable so that nobody can go to court about it, because some of them are actually in the books, in the budget?
Yes, definitely. That is the system, because the structure is designed that we don't own Nigeria. Nigeria is an avenue of come and share, have your own part and go. There is no issue of building up an institution where you say it's our own, adopting the state. Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. If you go into the public service system, you see how the system is structured. Once you become assistant director, you're up there. But once you're at the junior level, you're being suppressed. And the institution, they lay you off. You don't have the money to go to court. But the management level, from assistant director, they go to court and they call the bank to come and settle them. Let's settle out of court. But if you want a lot of institutions, the system we are operating has to be restructured and surgically restructured radically for us to head as an entity, a country. If not, I doubt it.
Thank you.
We still have more people calling. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. We are here. Go on. Your name, where you calling from?
Okay, this is Sadoga from Legislators.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank you for all that has been said. But do you know what I look at in this country? We're in a country where the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And for the legislators or the National Assembly, bogus approval of whatever they want to use to settle down, is a particular hint to the woes we are about to fight against. And my own candid advice is that the earlier the masses wake up
through the radios, through every youth, every known voice that we can speak out, and then constitutionally look for how to cut off all these things. In fact, the legislators, I don't really know what they are doing in that place. How many laws have been made that is not made before? How many reforms?
But since they are beneficiaries of these laws, these rules that enable government officials to take huge sums of money, do you think the National Assembly members will be in a good position to even...
That is the problem. To hear who am I talking to? Is that Okiria?
Yes, this is Okiria.
Do you know that is the biggest problem we have? Telling the same people to reduce their own money. They won't answer you. It's not possible. So the thing is, the way we will go out of it, so that less than 1% of the whole population of Nigeria will be amassing wealth and the 99% will be suffering continuously, remain a big question.
All right.
Something.
All right.
The country will suffer it very soon.
Thank you so much. Let's give some other persons opportunity to also air their views. Hello.
Go ahead.
I think, like we do in our personal lives, if you send your kid to a primary school, you expect that he will come out with the morals and the educational system of the school. We learned under the British parliamentary system. We jumped into what we're practicing is we're not practicing, first of all, true federalism, and we're not practicing absolute democracy. We are just oscillating around, and that's why it doesn't have a grounding. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. And what is the solution to this?
The solution is a bit far-fetched. My confession about it is this. If you look from 1999 till date, we've either had past military people, because it was set up by the military, and the military, past military government came in, and then they had mentees that they mentored, and they became president, and they left, and then we have this presidency, and then that's why we have all these issues. Solutions are, number one, we need to change our system of government through restructuring, like your man said. Restructuring will help us bring the prime minister from among the parliament. So, and then whatever issues you're going to bring, we're not going to be looking at, APC or PDP anymore. Once the election is done, it's done. Whatever issue you bring on the table will be debated upon. You come and prove it. If you cannot, not this one that they will invite you to tell stories. If you cannot prove whatever point, like Theresa May is saying right now, it will be thrown into the dustbin. And then that will start restructuring our minds. And then we need to cut down the cost of our election.
Very good.
45 million for this, 45 million for that.
Very good. You just said restructure our minds. Values reorientation. If a thief will still make a go at money in a bank's vault, but a man who's a good man will not steal money you place in Eagle Square because it's not in his calculation. Values reorientation.
My point is this. Let me help you with this. Do you know this restructuring we're talking about? It starts from the stomach before it goes to the head. Orientation. You don't give orientation to people basically from the mouth. I expect that it will work. Have we handled the primary issues why a government should be in place? If we have looked at it from that point of view and set a goal for every government that comes in and out, and then we'll now start seeing if you have failed and your failure is monumental, it doesn't matter what party you're from, you'll be kicked out.
Right.
We need to stand up and ask for a reform in our constitutional system.
Thank you. Thank you. We have more people calling in. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Go straight. We want to appeal to you to make it just 60 seconds.
Okay. Well, my name is Comrade Tony, calling from Abuja.
Yeah.
How are you here?
I'm good. I'm good, sir, comrade.
Okay. Now, my take is that since most Nigerians are now, heaving all the blames on the National Assembly, I would rather implore the senators elect now, let them please quickly get a bill that will place Nigeria on the social security network, just like you have in the US, because once there is social security, I bet you, when all the Nigerian citizenry will have at least something that he can live upon at the end of every week, just like you have in UK, US, and most advanced countries. There is social security. So with that, even the legislators themselves will no longer be overstretched by members of their constituencies, who will now come to them. Some of them will say, my children's school fees, my wife has just given birth to, my father died, please, You see, all those things we saw, that is social security, I believe, is the solution.
All right, thank you so much. Social security, we have more people calling on. Hello. Hello. Yeah, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Olira.
Thank you so much, sir. Your name and where you calling from. Please try and make it 60 seconds.
My is John. I'm calling from State.
Go on.
Yes, on the issue of people are talking about concerning the lawmaker bogus allowances, I think there is a need for us to have a restructure in this country. Because if the allowances they are collecting, there is no way they can justify the allowances they are collecting. Look at the issue of minimum wage. Committee upon committee, and even up to now, you have not started paying the minimum wage. But the senator is going on with 13 million naira. What are they doing with those money? They cannot account those money. So as I speak with you this morning, last night there were some government that stormed our community in Kuje Area Council. And in the community, we don't have a single policeman that is guiding.
So you need the funds. Citizens need the funds to provide security, rules, and other things. That's the point you're trying to make. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can take 2 more calls before we get back to our guest in the studio. Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
My name is Jerry, calling from Buhari.
Thank you, Jerry. Go ahead, please.
Let me make it a bit humorous. I think the only people that can confront these people are kidnappers. For life now, they are entering trains from Kaduna to Abuja with us. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Jide Ojo is laughing. Let's take the last one before we take our WhatsApp lines. Hello.
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 Umar from Niger State.
Thank you so much. Calling from Niger State. Your name? You say you are Umar?
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
One, those incoming legislators, they should please know that the masses are suffering and make a rightful law. If at all there's anything they will do there. Two, I think we should restructure and get a parliamentary system of government. This presidential is too costly. Three, if we have a Buhari who is against corruption per se on power, and we are having masses of billions being embezzled, wrongly spent, and Nigeria is a great deliverer.
All right. Thank you so much. Now let's just take a few of the WhatsApp messages that have come on our platform. And I'm taking this from Oluwa Chidi. Oluwa Chidi. This is a combination of Yoruba and... I'm of the opinion that the amount they receive is very bogus. This is why they take all risks to achieve such a position. They live on all sorts of influence. We don't need them now to build the Nigeria we need tomorrow. We need them to build now the Nigeria we need tomorrow. And another one coming in from Ima from Kwaz. I think that is Gwagwalada. For me, the money is too much, and these people cannot pay 30,000 naira for Nigeria workers as minimum wage. As Ima from Gwagwalada. And another one wrote a very, very lengthy one here. He said it's Timmy from Lugbe. I will just try and see if we can take it. Good morning, Primok. I'm so excited to hear your voice. The phenomenon of corruption is a joke in Nigeria. The amount of remuneration received by the National Assembly calls for a state of emergency. We can see the president who claims to be fighting corruption is using the EFCC as a tool for intimidation. We can see the cases of Goje, Akpabio, Oji Uzokalu, etc., who were left free, just like APC chairman says. If you join the APC, your sins are forgiven. I think we should just be mindful of the allegations we make. Some of these persons we have talked about have not been found guilty. They have indeed, some of them are under trial. And we also quickly want to, somebody cracked a joke. Should kidnappers be sent again to our lawmakers, I would say we can't canvass that kind of opinion here. It is not part of our character to canvass that criminality should be adopted. We are looking at civilized ways to solve a problem that is endemic in Nigeria.
Yes.
And we cannot be sending kidnappers against anybody. We want to quickly dissociate ourselves.
Just as you were reading there, Ismail Sam sent in this: public officials should not be given funds upfront. Rather, they should be given credit cards to make traceable payments. Legislative staff salaries can be paid by the National Assembly. Okay, that's the crux of what he's saying here. And then, Austin, just as we're talking about that, Ohiria.
Let me just take this from
Okay,
Paul
yes,
Ikowa. What our lawmakers are taking home is outrageous. My suggestion would be a restructuring where Nigerians will determine having one National Assembly and putting our lawmakers on part-time basis. Let's just quickly go to Jide Ojo because our time is running out now. Let's see, talk to Jide Ojo briefly. Remember that we still need to also get to Ada Obi Abumo, who will tie us back to the previous episode. How do you react to some of these suggestions?
Well, again, it's not surprising because we are all either affected or infected like HIV. In the midst of mystery, people are taking legitimately or illegitimately such outrageous sums of money. And of course, the national outcry is justifiable. But like I tried to take the conversation, it's not limited to the National Assembly. It's just in us, executive, legislature, even judiciary. But the framers of the Constitution and all this legislation that allows these allowances, like I said, the intendment is, okay, make them comfortable so that they will.
Now that it is
now it's not working.
Yes,
so we need to revisit. And I agree. In Senegal, in 2005 or thereabout, they decided to go unicameral.
Yes, reduce the
They scrapped their Senate. They went unicameral because it was too expensive for them. And we started off this country on a unicameral legislature before we acquired the bicameral in 1979. So, and we can't say that we are better off under a bicameral legislature than when we were under unicameral legislature. But that is even half of the story. Even if you have one by a unicameral legislature, unless you reduce the cost of electioneering, unless you reduce the cost of elections in such a way that it starts from people of ideas having access to even contesting winning election, people who have values, people who are willing and ready to serve, not because they are jobless.
They have money to throw about.
I mean, I didn't want to mention names. 2 days ago, we were in a meeting and somebody was telling me, some youth who are in the parliament now, spending close to 200 million to win election into House of Reps. Now, these are people who have not even had any income after graduation or maybe minimal income. They were sponsored. So who sponsored them? What is the motive for sponsoring them? How are they going to pay back? We know the Ngige story.
Yeah, but if you begin to talk about that, the principle of sinister motivation and all that, I would reverse it and say, since I know how costly it is to get into the National Assembly, now that I am in there,
shouldn't I make the laws
let me make laws
exactly
that will change that situation.
No.
What is happening now is that it is not the 750,000 naira approved by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
That's even money for the charge card.
It is the allowances they are in a position to.
It's not even that
for themselves.
It's not even
How
that.
do we handle that?
It's not
Who
even,
watches the watchman?
Let me tell you, it's not even the 13 million you people are talking about.
Oh.
They have several other means by which the DG of NAFDAC, oversight, you go on oversight. You will see the ensuing argument and rough fight that will come. Now that the leadership of National Assembly has emerged, by the time they are going into committee, chairmanship and vice chairman, you will see the rough fight that will come up. Oh, I supported you, so you are giving me grade C committee to go and chair. What is grade C? What is grade A? What is grade B? It is because of access to resources.
They call it juicy committees.
Juicy committees. so why do they want juicy committee? Minister of Defense.
It's a very serious matter. Just before we go, Dr. Ojo,
It is.
What is actually the safe way out of this? How do we kill the rat without breaking the pot?
Oh, it's a very dicey situation. Like I said, it's a catch-22. Many of us who are advocating for these reforms, unless you don't want to go into politics, people, I mean, you even, we are talking of people who won. We have not talked of people who invested so much and who lost their investment. So the point is, I really don't know if we have, now that president has said, this second time I'm going to be very pushful.
He said it will surprise everybody.
It will surprise everybody. Yeah. If you can initiate that reform, to say, look, block all the leakages. All these oversight people go and blackmail and blacklist. You want to go for screening and they are asking you to come and settle, like El-Rufai said they were demanding of him to come and settle before he will be. All of these things, once you block all those avenues and people are running election at a loss, they are not able to recoup they will start learning. They will start saying, what Wabara told us in a public interview, look, some of us sold our houses, we collect loans to run elections, and it's not a charity. So they have to recoup. Right. So until when we start making corruption unserviceable, we are servicing corruption. That is why it's everybody, people are already preparing for 2023 now. There was a guy who wanted to contest election, I think 2007 or 2011. He has to go into drug trafficking because he said when he contested the previous time, he didn't have enough resources to win. So he was looking for how to raise sufficient war chest to win election. So when people go to Godfathers, went to take bank loans, why do they have to do that if they have no means of recouping their investment?
Let us leave it at that question, and let's hope the Nigerian people can answer it over time, because it's self-preserving to do that.
Exactly.
Adobe Obiabumo, you must want to take us to our mailbox and social media platforms at this point.
Our first mail is from Marcus Gimbas from Abuja, and he says, corruption is not only embezzlement of public funds. The other forms of corruption are nepotism, disobedience to the rule of law, of which this regime is guilty of. If the government must succeed in the next 4 years, then it must change its attitude. Our next mail is from Dr. Hoko, and she says, we need to define what corruption is in Nigeria. This is because some people don't see bribery before carrying out their assigned duty as corruption. Therefore, sensitization of the citizens on what constitutes corruption should be taken seriously, and offenders should be transparently tried and punished. Odogunwa Boeze writes from Ebonyi, and he says, Mr. President can only be effective with the fight against corruption if it is fought without prejudice, religion, and ethnicity. Many thanks for your mails. Keep them coming through info@primo.org or call 0902-265-6167. Kindly subscribe, comment, and like our videos on Primork TV on our YouTube channel. Official Primork is our social media handle. To get all our content, go to Google and enter #Public Conscience on Radio and hit the search button.
Thank you so much, Adaobi, and you really need to send us your messages. If your messages were not taken now, we promise that we'll take them next week when we come. Send them to 090-2265-6167, 090-2265-6167, and go to our YouTube channel and also drop a message after watching. That is Primork TV. Primork is Primorg. Primork TV, and if you are on our Primork on Facebook, we stream live on our Primork page. If you go to Primork, our group page, you also get to see all the answers. Please always remember to drop your comment. Well, the time is almost over. We have to wrap up now, but we cannot wrap up without going back to our guests and asking the question, the takeaway. The takeaway from, we have a new National Assembly that is in place. They have come in with a lot of money spent after elections. We have a system that appears not to be working. We have official monies approved, either by the National Assembly themselves, the agencies of government. Some of them collect, like the Federal Inland Revenue Service, keep about 4% of all the monies they get. Now, how do we change this? What is the way forward for Nigeria?
For me, Ohiria, yesterday Mr. President was talking of 8-point agenda in fighting corruption at the anti-corruption summit yesterday. Well, I think it's just taking the hard line. We need to remove the environment for corruption. The environment for corruption to thrive is very, fertile in Nigeria. Many of the callers talked about 13,000 minimum wage. Some governors are resisting to pay and all of that. So you now look at, why do people even go into politics? They have studied the situation and thought that this is a legitimate way to legalize, to get, money, public funds without even facing trial. So put pressure here, collect this there, and they are made, and they become the envy of their peers.
Just lastly, who bears the cat? The president?
The president. There is no two way about it. Now he has his men there. Let him initiate the reform. Policy reforms, legislative reforms, constitutional reform. Whatever needs to be done has to be started this year. Because we can't wait until 2023. Look at the initiative to even reduce the cost of nomination form. It's a desirable thing, so that you start from there. Cut down the cost of electioneering, and by and large, try to screen out people who do not even have personal means of survival, who wants to go into politics.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jide Ojo, helping us out with the analysis. I want to thank all of you out there who called in and who also sent in messages. For those who are still sending us messages, we want to encourage you to send them, because we will read them in our next episode. Public Conscience is a production of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, and we are sponsored by the Makato Foundation with a very, straight focus on how to reduce corruption in Nigeria. Chukwudi Okolo Ogbaja and Adaobi Obiabumo, to just hear from you. Adaobi, thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And Chukwudi Okolo Ogbaja, always.
As we thank Jide, we actually have to tell our contributor out there that it's always a bumper harvest from them. Keep it coming, please.
Thank you, and Amokiri Agbosuremi. Thank you so much. Let's do it again next week at same time, and we'll have all the issues wrapped up, and we'll move ahead in a situation, in a country where we can reduce poverty through the reduction of corruption.